Hi, folks. Welcome to another episode of Film Study. This is Ken McCusick. We're here tonight to continue our series of That One Play, and we got a good one for you tonight. Do we ever not have a good one? Well, there have been a lot of losing plays, so yes, those would be not good ones to answer my own rhetorical question there. But the play tonight, definitely a warm memory. It's the 2001 Monday Night Football stop on an untimed down to win the Tennessee game that year in Tennessee. Here to join me to talk about it is Regis Cagle. Regis, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I really appreciate you coming on. I'm very happy you picked this particular game because it's a one of the all-time greats in Ravens history. I think there's a generation of fans who probably doesn't really know about it. So a lot of background is probably appropriate. So Regis, start us off and tell us where the Ravens were in the season and up in the game up to this point.
Sure. It was actually a very interesting season because it was right after the Super Bowl win. There was a lot of high expectations with the signing of Leon Searcy and Jamal Lewis coming back after a pretty strong rookie season. And unfortunately, we had some injuries. Elvis Gerbach was, not quite living up to par. But at this point, we were still kind of in the playoff hunt. We were, I think, 6-3 at the time. It's Monday Night Football. It's against probably our most heated rival at that point, the Tennessee Titans. We had a very hot rivalry with them in 2000. We had some very fun back and forth with Eddie George. So it's pretty much a great primetime game. And at this point, it's pretty back and forth. Eddie George had his traditional fumble in the fourth quarter, and Ray Lewis was the one that caused it. And the Ravens had been able to jump up 16-10 after 2 field goals. And Steve McNair is driving the team down for a 2-minute drive. It was riddled with some hilarity from a ref perspective. There was like a receiver that probably didn't get 2 feet down in a first down catch for the Titans. There was a really bogus roughing the passer call on Steve McNair. And the play that they start to drive down the field and they get to what I call the 1999 Titans-esque. Kevin Dyson catches the ball on the 1-yard line, and they're getting ready to get that final touch in, and the defense is a mess. And Peter Boulware has probably, I don't know if it was I haven't heard if it was like a brilliant thing or if it was just sort of an accident, but it's yep.
Yeah, well, just say I've met Peter Boulware at an event, and he was at a Sweetholder event that I was fortunate enough to get to go to for my company, and it was very neat. He's just standing over there by himself. Nobody's talking to him. Why is this happening? Of course, but everybody else is talking to somebody else. And I went over and I said, hey, great to meet you. I hear you're doing real well. Whatnot? But we got to talking about this game, and I said, that was you, right, in the Tennessee game in 2001, and it kind of rolled his eyes as if he was embarrassed by it, didn't really want to talk about it. And I go, but it turned out great. And he goes, yeah, it turned out okay. And then, but he obviously wasn't happy with himself for doing that. So it wasn't like a Chuck Clark intentional offsides, get in position kind of thing. And it honestly would have been a pretty terrible play from that perspective if you're trying to get the right personnel on the field, because I think the Ravens already had it. And, touching up didn't really offer much in terms of a gain. It's a 0-yard penalty as recorded in the game book, though.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how they really got that half the distance to the goal from like the third of the yard line to the half. But the 6, the 6. But it was a mess because the ref hadn't set the ball. There was questions if there was an illegal formation. So McNair gets a snap. He goes in. Like the Titans are excited. The crowd's excited. I actually remember the play at my house, and I'm like, I know the rules. I'm like, the play's dead. I mean, he touched the center. It's over. So, I mean, everyone's going to have to realize that, what was it, like 5 to 6 minutes or something like that?
Yeah, it took them about 6 minutes to unravel it. They really didn't want to unwind the play, but they needed to look at all aspects of it. So they were talking amongst themselves for an extended period of time. And then the famous words were uttered over the mic. On a play of this magnitude, he starts out with. And he should have never started with that, because it wouldn't matter what the magnitude of the play was. The ruling should still be the same.
No, you're absolutely right.
That was not a condition of anything that occurred. And if he touched any offensive lineman, it would have been encroachment. So it wouldn't have mattered which offensive player had been touched pre-snap. As soon as you do it, it's encroachment. And the penalty should have been dead. But he called it correctly as that kills the play. We'll have an untimed down, and they went ahead and they got set up again. And take us through it.
So it gets set up again, and for some reason they decide, even with probably one of the best running backs in the game at the time, even though, let's be honest, when he played the Ravens, it wasn't his best performances. They decided to try a sneak again, and McNair could not get through the center and basically had to kind of sashay to the side, and Corey Harris kind of closed the edge and tackled him for a loss. And that was the end of the game on an untimed down. I hate to say this, and it probably won't sit well with some fans, but it kind of felt a little bit like the playoff game this year with Tyler Huntley with the quarterback sneak. And now it wasn't anywhere near the yardage, but you had J.K. Dobbins in the back. And in this case, for this game, you had Eddie Jordan. It's like, why don't you just turn and hand the ball off to your star running back and let them go? Especially for the Titans, who he literally ran the sneak the play before, exact same play. It's like, at what point do you say, hey, Steve, maybe they're ready for it? You know, the defensive line at that point was stout. I mean, the front seven was arguably one of the best front sevens of all time. Maybe let your running back get through.
Yeah, definitely one of the deepest defensive lines in NFL history in that particular season. The 2001 season, the next generation of talent was already there. In fact, Kelly Gregg, who was on that 2001 team, was used as a situational pass rusher, which is absolutely hilarious today. But Siragusa and Adams were the two down inside guys, and they had them on the field. They also had probably every other lineman they had active that day. And with 6 minutes of timeouts, 6 minutes of time off, they had every opportunity to get exactly the correct defense they wanted on the field. So in point of fact, addressing your earlier point about Bullware, it kind of would have made sense, I guess, because I'm sure they didn't have 4 down linemen in the game when the play happened before, because wasn't it like a 6 or 8 yard gain?
It was an 8-yard gain to Dyson.
Yeah.
It was a 5-yard gain to Dyson. Unlike the 99 Super Bowl, he wasn't able to reach the ball. He was like literally stuffed immediately at the 1. And it was just pandemonium at that point, where the ref just basically threw the ball in the middle. The center picked it up, and I don't think they had nearly enough time to set. And there was no way, to your point, that the Ravens could get the right goal line personnel in to stop the play. And everyone's scattered at this point. Bullware is like 5 yards behind, trying to get in. Everyone's trying to get set. Frankly, the Titans themselves were in kind of a weird formation because they were just trying to snap the ball. It was probably the most accidental, ingenious play of Ravens history when it comes, besides the Chuck Clark intentional offsides at one time. But it was like literally, he stopped the play because it was clear that McNair was going to go through and score the game-winning touchdown. So yeah, it was accidentally, arguably a genius play on Bullware's part.
So I was at this game, and by the way, November 12th, remember that date when the Ravens play the Titans? They played the Titans 3 times on that date, and I believe the 3 instances are 3 extraordinarily memorable wins over the Titans. I know that there's this game, the Trevor Plyce block in 2006, which we had another show about, and I think the game against the Titans in 2000 when they first won at Adelphia might have also been on 11/12, but I may not have that date exactly right. But there have been 3 games with the Titans on 11/12. It's like it's a cursed date for the.
This is the smell of the leftover tuna fish sandwich you left in your lunchbox over the weekend in a wimpy trash bag.
Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy!
Blech! And this is the smell of that same sandwich in a hefty, ultra-strong trash bag.
Hefty, hefty, hefty!
Ah, smell the difference? Hefty Ultra Strong has Arm & Hammer with continuous odor control, so no matter what's inside your trash, you can stay one step ahead of stinky. And for bigger jobs, try the superior strength of Hefty Large Black Bags.
With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Titans playing the Ravens in Tennessee. So, anyway, the thing I remember about it, we went down for the game on Monday Night Football. It was kind of a pain to get into the stadium. By the way, that place is a dump. I don't know if you've been there. It looks like a college stadium. It's not tricked out for NFL play. Even the boards have always kind of been a little small relative to other places. It's a little bit like Paul Brown Stadium in that the under carriage to the stadium is not particularly nice. So it's the concourse. It's not a NFL kind of facility. It's in the bottom tier of the NFL facilities. So anyway, they scored this faux touchdown, and I was out of my seat recently because I'm thinking they're not gonna kick the extra point. My friend stays in his seat, so I'm up there at the top of the aisle waiting for him, and I'm waiting for now 6 minutes because they're deciding on this thing. And then I decided to go back down, and then sure enough, they had to run the play, and they did it. But one of the really fond football travel memories I still have of that game.
That's fantastic. And the funny part is, if you're a Ravens fan, usually when you go to Nashville, there are a lot of good stories. It's amazing to see kind of the fact that, honestly, they're undefeated from a playoff perspective in Adelphia, the first team to ever win in Adelphia Coliseum back in 2000. So there's a lot of fond memories. And to answer your one question, we have not gone. I'm actually hoping to go this year. I do have a proud record of being undefeated for when I go to road games. I've been to like 7 or 8.
Oh, that's good. It's really unusual.
Yeah.
Are you cherry picking the games to play bad teams? I mean, that's really an unusually good record.
Well, the funny part is I went to school in Pittsburgh, so 3 of them were with the Steelers.
Wow.
So no, we did go to Washington for a preseason game. I kind of count that one, but they're undefeated for 55 years in preseason at this point. So so that one I guess doesn't take, but no, the rest of them are like Atlanta, Tampa, like the pretty the travel ones that people go to for the warm weather.
2006 or 2014 for Tampa?
14, where they scored 56 point. Yep.
Yeah. That's great. Good. It's certainly a good travel season. And then the 2001 team went on from here, and it's kind of like the Jacksonville Jaguars were finished in 2000, and the Ravens helped finish them, but they finished themselves as well. The Titans already started out 2001, if I recall, 0-3, right? And then they went on to have a pretty terrible season. But this was the game that maybe they would get back into it had they won it, is my recollection. They might have been 4-6 at the time or something, or maybe they weren't exactly that.
Yeah, they get that. I think they were 3-7 after this game. I remember Jeff Fisher's quote. He said something effective. What was the difference between this and the Super Bowl loss? I have 6 months to get over the Super Bowl loss. I only have 6 hours to this one. So it was a pretty crushing loss to their season. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. All right. So one of those games we certainly will remember. And the Titans were finished this year. They were in the middle of a 5-game losing streak to the Ravens. Unfortunately, they broke that, how it always seems to happen, in a playoff game in Baltimore. Where they beat him in 2003, and then they beat him again, of course, in 2019, very famously, while the Ravens won the 2 road meetings in 2000, 2008, and that's it, 2000, 2008.
20.
20, you're right. How did I forget that one?
Yeah, okay. It was Lamar Jackson's only playoff win was in the famous everyone stand on the center of the Titans logo.
Yes, that's the one after the Peters interception.
Yep.
All right. Outstanding. Great thing. What is there anything else that made this play special for you? Why you chose it?
Well, what's interesting is I always enjoyed the rivalry between the Ravens and the Titans. And I think it's one that has kind of gotten some press recently, but it's kind of forgotten. And the Ravens and the Steelers kind of become sort of the premier rivalry. But back in the day, it really was the Ravens and the Titans. And it was kind of like to me, an amazing capstone, because it was going to be the last game while they were in that division. This was they were going to realign. The Titans went to the south. We went to the north. So to me, it was always kind of like that famous storybook end to a pretty bitter rivalry from a divisional foe perspective. And anytime I get to see Jeff Fisher sort of lose in such glorious fashion, it's always to me one of my favorite moments to see, and to see it this hilariously was fantastic.
Yeah, he certainly went ballistic on the sideline talking to the officials during this, and he talked about being on the competition committee himself and how he knew better than the refs. That wasn't going to be a winning argument. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm on the competition committee.
And he was dead wrong. I mean, it's an obvious play. I mean, it's kind of you're right. It was because of the magnitude of the play. No ref wanted to call this, but it is the right call. He touched the center, plays over. And, I mean, I also remember Brian Billick talking about the fact that the ref never set the ball. He believes that the Titans were in
the
an illegal
center
formation.
set the ball?
Well, the official kind of like threw the ball on the ground. He did put it somewhere in the vicinity, and the center picked it up and placed it. So he never really formally placed the ball, set it on the ground. He just kind of like scramble drilled it. I remember there was like a receiver that was kind of like catty cornered, sort of like standing to the side, and they tried to get like some formation. I don't know if it was technically an illegal formation, but it looked kind of sketchy. I remember Billick was basically saying the game should have been over because of that illegal formation. But yeah, the setting of the ball, they should have not had time to run the play, but they were able to sneak one through. But yeah, unfortunately for them, it didn't work out.
Yeah, actually, it wouldn't have been any yardage on the penalty; it would have been offsetting. But with a defensive foul on the play, I believe they would have played the extra on time down no matter what. So even if both were pre-snap penalties, so I don't think you. In fact, I'm not even sure that an encroachment penalty doesn't get called before an illegal formation. Like you can't have an illegal formation if you have an encroachment. That could be too. I don't know the rules.
I think Brian was just pretty fired up anyway.
Yeah, he was just talking like Fisher. He's just talking.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Regis, outstanding having you on for this. Is a great choice, and great to talk about this again. And there's a familiarity with which we talk about something like this. But if you have a chance and you're a fan was too young for this game at the time, go back and see if you can find it online. Look at the game book, even if you don't have other sources, but the game book or on Pro Football Reference will give you the kind of what happened play by play and see if you can fill in some of the blanks. But Ravens history is pretty long and wonderful at this point already, which is amazing for such a relatively young franchise that we have so much to enjoy about it.
I agree. And as an original season ticket holder, it feels like time has flown, but you're absolutely right. We've got 26 years, which is fantastic. And thank you for the opportunity. I really have enjoyed my time here.
You're more than welcome. Where can people talk football with you online?
You can find me on my Instagram. I'm happy to talk to anybody anytime. Anytime I don't have any sort of fan pages, but if anyone wants to talk football, I'm happy to create one. Okay.
All right. Very good. If you other folks out there, if you'd like to have a That One Play episode, it's real simple. Regis the entire time, beginning to end, a week on this?
Yep, about a week.
Okay. Then just DM me. I'll put you on the schedule. You'll probably be recording in the very next week, and love to have you on. Brought a group of people to be on the show is what I'm looking. Meet new people, new ideas, new things that were special about the game to you. Regis, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you very much.
And we'll talk to you next time on Film Study.
When you download the Kroger app, you have easy access to savings every day. Shop weekly sales and get personalized coupons to get the most value out of every trip, every time, whether you shop in-store or online. Download the Kroger app now to save big. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Must have a digital account to redeem offers. Restrictions may apply. See site for details.
Save big on your favorites with the Buy 5 or More, Save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.